name is Joan Bogwa. I'm a clinician. I work for Good Life Pharmacies. Today we are going to talk about postnatal care. Postnatal care is the care given to a mother and her newborn after delivery, within the first weeks or months following the delivery. Postnatal care typically involves monitoring the mother's health, emotional recovery after childbirth, also monitoring the child's development, and it also involves advice on nutrition for both the mother and the baby. The supplements that you would require postnatally include calcium, vitamin D, folic acid, iron, omega-3, and probiotics. All these supplements you can get in the diet. If they're not enough, you can actually get them on supplements, but this you'll have to get advice from your doctor. They're available in all the Good Life Pharmacy stores countrywide.
A very good evening to you, and thank you for joining us on Health and Wellness tonight. My name is Zaitun Ali, and this is KTN Home. Welcome home. And it's a two-part series. We are coming to you from the Kenya Coast National Polytechnic in Mombasa. And remember, it is the Bump to Baby event. We've done a two-part series. Last week, we were talking about the prenatal and antenatal care for both maternal and child health care. But today, we will be discussing about the postnatal part, yeah? What happens when now the baby is around? What care is given to the baby and the mother? What kind of nutrition do they need to take? How is breastfeeding coming along? So I'm sure you're going to learn a lot on this episode. And on my panel, I have Josephine Munene. She is a lactation educator from Kenya Association for Breastfeeding. We also have Rashida Said, a nurse at the Maristopes, and Ruth Wanyama. She is a registered clinical dietitian from Gertrude's. Also on my right, we have an amazing audience, yes, and also experts are seated right here on the audience. We have Amina Jamari presenting Gertrude's. We have Carol Curia for Solian Properties. Yes, mtoto akija. Mnaishi wapi? What kind of home do you want to build for your new family? Yeah. We also have Janet Nyarangi from Britam Health, and Edith Salim together with Doreen Romina from Maristopes, and also Lina Wakungi from Kenya Coast National Polytechnic. They are our location hosts for today, and we're going to learn a lot on this episode. So, karibuni kwenye show. Yeah. So let me start with Rashida from Maristopes. Yeah. Let's talk about postnatal care. What is postnatal care?
Good evening, people. My name is Rashida Saidi from Maristopes. I'm a nurse, stroke a midwife. So I help mothers from the time of pregnancy up to the journey of delivering and up to postnatal care. So when you're speaking about postnatal care, basically we mean this is the care that we give our mothers from the time they deliver up to 6 weeks of breastfeeding. Okay? And someone else will take it from there. Now, basically in postnatal care, we cover a lot of things. We have psychological health. We also have physiological health. And we also, in now physical health, we have to check about the scar for mothers who went for cesarean section. We also have to check for mothers who gave birth but had a tear. We call episiotomy or just a perineal tear. And in that, the mental health is very important. And we also have family planning inside post-delivery. Yeah. Now, in Maristopes, we have a checklist called Edinburgh Scale. This one is very important as it assesses the mental health of the mother. Remember, there are some people who have had a traumatic birth experience. You can find, like today I'm a mom, I came in to deliver. I discussed with my doctor. He said that I could deliver vaginally. Then they've allowed me to labor. But unfortunately, a nurse comes in and tells me, Mama, njia naona nimepima, haifunguki. Now we have to end for cesarean section. Everyone who hears that they're going for cesarean section, they think that, gosh, today I'm dead. I'm already dead, because they fear the scar. Someone will ask you, okay, nikata, nitakufa. For slay queen like us, we'll ask, what about my bikini line? Nitava bikini, okay? So all these things we put in our mind, okay? So we have to assure the mother that everything will go well. A cesarean section is not an abnormal birth process. Yes. It is just a different type of birth process. For those who had traumatic birth experience, probably maybe the baby didn't come out well. Maybe the baby failed to cry. There's some baby who get stuck on their shoulders. There's some mothers who are too small, now they have to expand the way for the baby to come out, okay? This is someone who wouldn't want to get pregnant in the next 5 years. This is someone who would not want to see a man in the next 2 years, okay?
Yeah.
Because now they're finding ways to direct their anger. Some even direct their anger to their babies, which is very much normal. Now we have maternal blue, and we also have psychosis. Then someone will ask, what is maternal blue? Maternal blue is when a mother sees the baby like an object, someone who has caused physiological trauma to them, okay? So when we assess you, we're checking, are you happy? Are you mad? Are you moody? You may realize some moms, they've given birth, they don't want to breastfeed, okay?
Yeah.
They feel like, this is a burden. This is a mom who will link them to a counselor. In our facility, we also have a counselor, Dr. Monica, who usually talks to them. We also have Edith and Doreen. They come and talk to this mother to lay the anxiety. Then if you feel like this mother needs referral care, then we link them to someone who's now professional in handling maternal health issues. Then in postpartum care, we also have schedules whereby this mom needs to come back to the clinic for them to see whether they are doing well. They have preventive services. Once you've given birth, we're bleeding, definitely, yes, right? So we need to restore this blood that has been lost. I need to give you supplements that will restore the blood that you have already lost, okay? Some will lose their hair. A nutritionist will come and tell us, yes, they lose their hairline. So someone will tell us, why am I, mimi ni kipara na nilikuja nywele yangu ikiwa sawa. Si ndio? Yeah? So this is a mother, I'd want this mother to come to the facility for between 3 to 7 days post-delivery.
Okay.
I'll check, how are you bleeding? How is the blood flow, okay? How is the scar? Then 2 weeks later, this mother will also come. For a cesarean section, I'll check, how is the scar? Is it healing well? Does it have an infection? What is the cord of the baby? Tunaita kitovu. Imepona, imekatika, imeanguka. This is something mothers will ask you.
How long does it take actually to fall off?
7 days actually. Okay. But now it depends on the kind of care that you're given, right? Okay. Now this mother again will also come at 6 weeks. At 6 weeks we discuss immunization, family planning, but we are not limiting family planning to 6 weeks alone. So immediately you give birth, then according to the doctor's assessment, they can tell you whether you can get the family planning instantly, or you can now wait up to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, or 6 weeks.
Okay. Well, that is well elaborated, and I'm sure you've gotten to understand what happens in the postnatal care, especially immediately after delivering. And we throw the question out to Josephine, okay? Josephine is from Kenya Association for Breastfeeding. And today we can see she's come with her prop baby, a very handsome baby right here. And she's going to do it practically, show you how to latch the baby, how you're going to breastfeed. And yes, nutrition now for the baby immediately after they've come to this world. We've welcomed them to this world. What is the importance of now breastfeeding the baby immediately?
Okay, thank you so much. So the thing is, breast milk is made specifically for our babies, yeah? So maziwa yetu wa mama ndio ya mtoto. So it is a complete food. You don't need to give anything else. You don't need to give water, nothing like that, because already breast milk has enough water, it has enough proteins, it has enough fat, so you don't need anything else. And when the baby is born, the milk changes. So in the beginning, many moms say, sina maziwa, 3 days, 5 days, that's when your milk comes in. But actually, milk is already in the breast when you're 6 months pregnant. Your breasts have already made milk. So for some moms, they'll start leaking. Wataanza kuona maziwa inatoka, but some others, they have to wait until they put the baby on the breast. So what we always tell moms is you have milk from the beginning, but it is different. It's little, because also the stomach is very little. So let me do some magic. Okay. This is the size of a baby's stomach at birth. Yeah? So it's very, very small. So you can imagine you don't need a lot of milk in the beginning. So this is the size from, let's say, day 1 to day 3. So very small. So that milk that we are looking for is because we are used to seeing cow's milk.
Exactly, a lot.
Yes, a lot of milk coming out. But it doesn't make sense even for our bodies to have a lot of milk if baby can only hold this much. Yeah? So this is always important for mothers when they give birth. So when you're seeing those drops, just put your baby on the breast because we also say milk is made in the brain. Yeah, maziwa inatengenezwa kwa ubongo. Why? It's hormones. Yeah. So when you put your baby on the breast, you're triggering hormones. So by putting the baby on the breast, I say it's almost like starting a car. A car will not move unless you either press a button or you turn a key. Yeah? So it's the same for us. When you put the baby on the breast, you're triggering the hormones. You're starting the hormones. When the hormones come out, the milk is now squeezed out and more milk is made. So that's why in the first 1 hour, we say, welcome mtoto kwa matiti, but most of the time we forget to say that it's a skill. Yeah? So one of the skills is make sure that you're bringing your baby to the breast. Yeah? Even when we are eating, we do not lean down to eat. Yeah? See, we bring food to our mouth.
Definitely.
So the same thing, we bring the baby to the breast. Yeah? So we have to make sure that we are comfortable. Vile nimeketi, I'm supported, my back is supported, my feet are on the ground. So I'm comfortable. Alafu, ninaleta mtoto hapa kwa matiti. Yeah?
Okay.
That way, there's also no barrier. So the baby is as close to the breast as possible. And a newborn, we know a newborn doesn't know anything. Them, they're just here to survive. Yeah? So that is not the time to think that your baby will know how to put the breast into the mouth. Yeah? So when you bring the baby up, we are also trying to make sure that the nipple, iyo chuchu, ukishika, unahakikisha kwamba, ukishika mtoto.
Let me hold the mic for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So when the mother is holding the baby and bringing the baby to the breast, they need to make sure that the nipple, iyo chuchu, inaingia hadi mwisho. Yeah? So we are trying to make sure that that nipple is at the biggest space. Yeah? Kwa sababu, even now, if you put your tongue at the front, it's very hard. But if you move your tongue to the back, it becomes softer and the space is bigger. So that's why we call it breastfeeding, not nipple feeding. So the nipple is at the end. Imeingia hadi mwisho, alafu mtoto akifungua mdomo, unaleta mtoto kwa matiti. So that we are doing like that. So the nipple is going up and back. Ivo. Up and back. Yeah?
Okay.
But if this nipple comes to the front, it becomes hard. So that's why moms say, I put my baby on the breast, niliambiwa nimweke kwa matiti, lakini sasa nimeumia. I'm feeling pain. Yeah? But because it's where that nipple has come. Or a mom says, sina chuchu, ama chuchu yangu ni ndogo. Let's say now a flat nipple, like this one, yeah? But what did I say? It's not nipple feeding. So hold the baby, try and make sure you get as much of the breast in the baby's mouth. As long as there's milk coming out from the opening, yeah? Maziwa bado itatoka. Lakini vile mtoto ameshika hiyo matiti na hiyo chuchu, iwe katikati ya mdomo, the baby will still be able to pull the milk because they are drinking.
It reminds me, because when I was giving, after I had delivered, for me mine was flat, and they used, what's it called?
The syringe.
Exactly, to pull it off. It was disaster. So should it be done that way?
No, you don't need a syringe, and all you do is that you try and stimulate it, yeah? You try. If it still doesn't come out, there's a way you push back. So let me show you. You see like the way it's now flat.
Okay.
If I push back, it comes out more. Sindio?
Okay.
So if it's flat, you push back and then you bring the baby on. So you don't need to pull out that nipple because that nipple has been held in place. It's like glue.
You person who did that to me.
So you're removing glue. Imagine you're ungluing your nipple from your breast. So it can't work very well, and then you'll be traumatized. The trauma that here my colleague was talking about, and you don't want trauma. It affects your brain, it affects the hormones, the milk will not flow.
Okay, that makes sense. And now, once the baby has learned how to latch, what are some of the benefits of now this milk?
So like I was saying, the thing about the milk is that I had said before it's a complete food, but it also helps with immunity, the first immunity, that is where you're getting it from. The milk is clean, so you know that your baby is not going to get any infections. And also there are certain properties in milk that protect also the stomach. That's why you're told do not introduce anything else. Even formula, do not give formula. Do not give water, because those are things that have germs and bacteria. But the milk, it protects the stomach. So you know that bacteria, diarrhea, things like those are going to be less. Babies who are breastfed on breast milk and are only kept on breast milk for 6 months also have less likelihood of diabetes when they are older, hypertension, all those kind of diseases that we end up getting a lot older, or even younger these days, because you're finding more and more children with those diseases that we thought are only for older people. But having breast milk makes sure that you have less likelihood of getting that.
Oh, that is okay. That is nice. And for the cases of now, as we wind up that part of the cracked nipples, now how do you treat that?
So that one, the best treatment is to get that clutch I'm talking about, that attachment where the nipple comes here. You see, we are getting cracked nipples because the nipple is coming to the front of the mouth.
Okay.
That's what we don't want. We want the nipple to go all the way there. But as your nipple is healing, you can put breast milk. Remember, breast milk is like medicine. We've already said that some of the, exactly, so apply breast milk.
Oh. So now that we've learned about the nutrients for the baby, what about the mother? And I will now loop in Ruth Wanyama to talk about what a mom needs, especially what foods help stimulate this milk and what kind of diet should she be in, especially during breastfeeding.
Now, the mother's health is very much important. The myth, I am very sure you had a big thermos of tea and porridge.
Yes.
For the first 3 months.
Definitely. Hot water also.
Well, that is not a must. So in nutrition, it comes with quality.
Okay.
But our previous generations, our great-grandmothers, I think they went with quantity.
Yeah.
So that you can get enough milk. But at the moment, we go with quality. And we use the rainbow colors. It's a variety of the meals. Make your meals as tasty as possible, as fun as possible. Because tell me, can you do without chips and chicken for 6 months?
Definitely no. And add chicken.
Yes.
Yes, we cannot do without.
So, because you will get the craving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every once in a while you can chip it in, but go with the quality.
Okay.
So increase your intake in fruits, vegetables, and protein. But our plates nowadays, ugali, chapati.
It's because you're being told, you are eating for 2. So now you have to increase. And you have your mom there na anaangalia. Umeongeza kula ugali, kula kamande, everything. Na hii njahe. Pia imewekwa ndani.
Ukiambiwa njahe ni ya mama ananyonyesha. No. All foods must be eaten, right portion sizes, and go with quality. Because if you do more of the carbs, less of the proteins, less of the vegetables, as much as she has said immunity, we are getting immunity from fruits and vegetables. If you do minimally, who will it benefit, the baby or you? So you need to eat the recommended dietary allowance that is recommended for both you and the baby. When you go to the clinic, the nurse will shout at you, "Oh, mtoto wako mbona aongezi kilo," in the way you're doing a whole mlima of ugali. There is no way your child will add weight with that. So you have to include proteins, you have to include the carbohydrates and the vitamins.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for that explanation. So we want to take a short commercial break. We're coming back with more about nutrition, especially after exclusively breastfeeding for 6 months. Now, what do we wean the baby on? And also talk about immunization and a lot of child health care, the insurance and everything. So stay tuned. Remember, last time it was about the prenatal and antenatal care. If you missed that episode, catch it on YouTube. If you have any other question, 22151 is our SMS line, and socials at KTN Home and at Ali_Zaitun. Stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, remember this is Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali. We are at the Bump to Baby event in Mombasa, the Kenya Coast National Polytechnic. And the topic is about maternal and health care. So this episode is totally on postnatal. Now the baby is here, what are we doing? So before the break, we were talking to Ruth about the kind of nutrition that a mother needs, especially to now stimulate the milk. But now we want to know, after exclusively breastfeeding for 6 months, how do we start weaning? Ruth, you can continue.
Yes. Now, the question is, if I could have a chance to know who brought blenders on board? Oh my God, I would do something. Because we are not supposed to blend foods for our children from 6 months. Those kids will not choke. Why are they choking? Who made them choke?
Guilty as charged.
Yes. So we go with mashing. So you can start with a consistency that the child can tolerate with mashing. After 1.5 weeks, you can mash and leave small particles. As you proceed, as you move on to the semi-solid up to the solids. So there's no need of mashing, no need of blending. If you're mashing, we are not sieving. If you sieve, you remove out all the nutrients, especially fiber. Then after two or 3 days, you go back to the hospital. Oh, my baby has not pooped. There's constipation. Okay? So we are giving our children all the foods that are provided, whether it's matoke, whether it is pumpkin, whether it is potatoes. But do not take potatoes, pumpkin, duma. That is not a meal.
Okay.
Okay? So you pick one from each food group. A carbohydrate, a protein, a vitamin, and you do fruits. You see, like my plate, it's very colorful. So baby's food at 6 months and onwards should also be colorful. What we really note is on the proteins, because they tend to cause allergic reactions. So those ones, we start them as one at a time. Okay? You can introduce one protein after every 3 or in a weekly basis. If you get any that the child reacts with, give it a pause. Then we do it again at 9 months.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. So
Yes.
what is on your plate especially? How do you now illustrate this type of nutrition to mothers out there? Yeah.
Okay, so my plate basically here, I have different kinds of fruits because majorly I was basing on most of our mothers come with constipation for our babies. So when you have an apple, how would you give an apple to a 6-month-old? Because it's very rough, okay? So for an apple, you can go with an option of steaming it a little bit and then you mash it.
Okay.
We have a pear that is not very tasty. So we usually go with, our kids have taste buds, okay? So you do not have not to prepare your child without salt, without fats, without any ingredients, you just boil them. If I give you that meal, as in, will you even eat it?
Definitely no.
So why do we want our children to eat bland food? So make it as tasty as possible. If you find a pear is it has a salty sour taste.
Yeah.
You can mix it with an orange to give it the sweet taste, so that your child is able to continue feeding and also discovering. Then you'll also know if your child is a sweet toother or is a sour toother.
Yeah.
Basically, during your last trimester, which foods did you like?
Sour.
Is baby a sweet toother?
No.
Yes. They usually pick
Oh,
the
so-
test buds
really?
during our last trimester. There are meats that come on board. If I give my child eggs, they will not talk. As well as if I give there are various kinds of foods that comes with meat, okay? Method of preparation, we are not adding milk to foods. Totally, our babies are starting milk at 1 year. That is why we recommend exclusive breastfeeding up to 2 years. So maneno ya kuongeza maziwa kwa uji, maziwa kwa chakula, no. It hinders absorption of other nutrients.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, so that was Ruth Wanyama. She's a registered clinical dietitian from Gertrude's. Thank you for those insights. And we've also had in the part 1, that is Rashida Said, who is a nurse/midwife at Mary Stopes, and Josephine Munene, who is a lactation educator from Kenya Association of Breastfeeding. So right now, we are moving to the second segment of the show. And I'm bringing it to these experts on this side of the audience. And I will start by Cameline Omondi. She's a nurse at Gertrude's, and she's going to take us through the process of immunization. So at 6 weeks, at 8 weeks, 10, 14, what are we giving the baby? So karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Cameline Omondi, a nurse at Gertrude's Children's Hospital. Now that the baby is here, we need, besides loving the baby, we need to protect the baby too. What do you mean by protection? We are protecting the baby against diseases. And for these diseases, we need the baby to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated. So vaccination starts immediately at birth with the BCG vaccine and the oral polio. And besides the birth vaccines, at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, we have vaccinations. We vaccinate against the DPT, pneumonia, and besides that, we have the rotavirus vaccine and the oral polio. After 14 weeks, we have the 9 months vaccine and the 18 months vaccine. Vaccination doesn't end at 18 months. As per the KP schedule, we vaccinate our children up to 18 months, but we continue monitoring the wellness of the baby, and we also have some private vaccines that prevent the baby from getting diseases. Some of the private vaccines involve the meningococcal vaccine, cholera vaccine, we vaccinate against that, chickenpox, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and also another thing, vaccination doesn't really stop at 5 years actually. We do go up to 10 years. There is the HPV vaccine for both. Now we have both for girls and boys.
Could you expound what HPV vaccine entails?
Okay, HPV vaccine is a vaccine given to young adolescents to prevent them against the human papilloma virus. Yeah.
Which causes?
It causes cancer. Yeah.
Okay.
Cervical cancer for the girls.
Okay, so most of us even don't reach the 5-year mark in terms of immunization. I think tulimaliza 14. We finished with measles. Is it at 9 months? That one. And that was it for us. So here 5 years in Ghana.
Okay, at 5 years, it's not one of the government KP vaccines. It's a private one. At 5 years, we vaccinate against. We give a booster dose of the cholera vaccine.
Okay.
We have a booster dose of the typhoid vaccine, and injectable polio vaccine. Those are the booster doses.
So now what happens to us who did not give the babies those vaccines?
For the private vaccines?
Exactly.
Actually, they can be administered at any age.
Okay.
Yeah, even for adults, we do the vaccination.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is okay. Thank you so much, Camilline, for that. She's a nurse at Gertrude's. And I want also to hear from Amina Jama, a medical officer at Gertrude's. And the question to you was about now child health care in terms of there's a condition that is commonly brought about as a result of not breastfeeding the baby. Maybe you can expound more on that. It's called jaundice, and most of the babies, nile mtoto anatan yellow, right? So just shine a light upon that condition and what brings it about.
So, good evening to you. My name is Amina Jama from Gertrude's Children's Hospital. So, for jaundice, popularly known as homa ya manjano in coast, so this is a wide topic to discuss on the causes. So it can either be physiological or pathological. Okay. Physiological in that it happens in day 3 of life after the baby is born. That shouldn't really worry us much. So we encourage the mothers to do more breastfeeding, because the less you breastfeed the baby, the more bilirubin component in blood, bilirubin, when it's more compared to the normal levels, that's when we see the yellowness. So basically, we tell the mothers to come to hospital and see the levels and encourage breastfeeding. And about the pathological one happens from day 1 of life and much older, in much older children. There's so many causes like viral infections, most of the hepatitis A and B, C, cytomegalovirus, most commonly in children, and the liver problems, hereditary genetics, So those ones require the child to be brought in hospital and monitored and treated with the phototherapy, a blue light where you see in hospitals. So it has a wavelength that is controlled. So we encourage mothers to come. Sunlight is not a treatment for jaundice. So we shouldn't delay our children to go to hospital.
How can we prevent it?
The more we breastfeed, the more the level of bilirubin keeps reducing in the blood level. And when it comes to antenatal care, we have to do some tests. In case the mother has those infections, like herpes simplex and all, it can be transmitted intrauterine. So antenatal care is very important as well. Basically that.
Okay, that is fine. And any person who has a question based on jaundice or any other infection that a baby, especially a newborn, goes through, we'll give you a chance to ask Daktari. Okay, pass the mic to.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Doreen Robina from Maristops, Mombasa. I'm a midwife. So my question goes to Amina. I'm asking of a baby has jaundice. How will this baby get breast milk? Yeah. Since the baby cannot breastfeed.
Thank you, Doreen, for that question.
So first of all, we assess the baby's reflexes. If the reflex is poor, we have an option of putting an NG tube and still giving the breast milk that the mother is asked to express. But if the baby's reflexes are intact and is able to breastfeed, and you're unable to assist, we call in the breastfeeding department, the team, to assist us.
Yeah, so Josephine, I know you've gotten questions about this, especially for the jaundice condition, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can add on to what Amina was saying.
Yeah, and the most important thing is even if that baby is not able to breastfeed, maybe because of the reflexes and there's something, either way, even with the NG tube, with that, the NG tube is the tube that the baby goes straight into the stomach, the mother still needs to know how to express milk. And especially in the beginning, because the first milk is very thick, so the hand is the best way to remove it. So the mom takes her breast, push back, compress forward. Push back, compress forward. That milk is then taken and given to the baby. If it's about the fact that that baby has good reflexes, but the mother now needs to know about holding, what I was talking before, how to hold that baby, even small babies, the best position, sometimes it's this kind of a position where you're holding the baby under the arm, because it's easier, especially with big nipples, big breasts, for the baby to come from the bottom and attach. So it's the different ways in which to make sure the baby is getting the breast milk. So how do we, as the breastfeeding team, help that mother to remove her milk or to put the baby on? But the primary care provider will be the doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Well answered. Okay. Any other question about?
Kwa majina naitwa Edith, and my question still goes to Dr. Amina. And to me, as a nurse, I am a primary health care provider, and mostly at the primary health care settings. So a mom walks in with a baby, 6 days old, with jaundice. I run the primary test, nampima, napata levels ziko sawa. I don't have the phototherapy light. I don't have a newborn unit where I can seclude this baby. Am I free to let this mother go, or there are intervention that I need to take?
Thank you so much for that question, Dr. Amina.
So like you said, if the bilirubin levels are okay, we encourage the mother to breastfeed. The more the baby breastfeeds, the more bilirubin levels is lowered. So the level of jaundice keeps decreasing. The yellowness of the baby keeps decreasing. And we will monitor the bilirubin every 72 hours.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Amina. She has answered that question. And despite all these conditions, the health conditions and everything, now that the baby is here, we have a happy family, we are very healthy and strong. We need to know how to secure a good life for them in terms of, well, where are we going to stay, what kind of insurance, especially health, and even education can a mom sort for. And with this, Janet from Britam Health, and also Carol Curia, she's head of sales at Solian Properties, are going to mention a few things about the health insurance and also now how to secure a good home for your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My name is Janet. I'm from Britam Health. Now, as a mom, baby is here, even babies, they're here, and you need to have a plan. You need to have a financial plan to be able to provide a happy life for this baby. So some of the bills or the areas you're going to have to plan for is the medical bills and also the future of this baby, the education, and invest for your children. And so you need to choose a partner who is going to work with you this journey. You need to have a very good medical cover, a comprehensive medical cover. You need to plan for eventualities. In case of illness, in case of an emergency, what is the fallback plan for you? Okay? When you go to the hospital, how do you expect to cater for those bills? And as Britam, we provide to you solutions that we can work with you this journey. We provide comprehensive solutions. And also for the baby, we provide education policies, life insurance that can help you save and provide a very bright future for this baby. So you need to ensure you plan adequately. As you're starting off, you may not, we're not saying that you must have a lot of money. You start where you are, you start with as little as you have, and then you keep growing that investment. So what we are insisting on, have a plan, have a financial plan.
Okay, habari zenu. Naitwa Ashley. Mimi natoka hapa Chuda. Swali langu ni, okay, mimi ningetaka kujua ni during breastfeeding. Nini inaitwaje? Family planning gani ndio mzuri kuitumia? Inaita interfere during breastfeeding.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Unaweza kufanya exclusive breastfeeding, pengine utaambiwa hivyo mwanzoni. Lakini ukifanya exclusive breastfeeding, lazima uweke mtoto kwa matiti. Sio ile ati una breastfeed asubuhi alafu pengine unatoa maziwa mchana alafu una breastfeed tena jioni. Lazima uendelee kumweka kwa matiti, ndio sasa hiyo hormone. Unakumbuka tulikuwa tumesema juu ya hormones kwa sababu hata pregnancy ni hormones Ndio hiyo hormone ambayo inafanya upate ujauzito ikae chini, iwe suppressed so to speak Lakini pia kuna sasa zile family planning plans ambazo unaweza kuanza kutoka tuseme 6 weeks, na nitauliza mwenzangu hapa aongezee kwangu, kwa sababu yes kuna zingine zina interfere, lakini kuna zingine ambazo ziko sawa na hazitafanya maziwa yako ipunguke.
Now, kuna zile specific family planning huwa zinapunguza kiwango ya maziwa kwenye matiti yenye ita affect mtoto, sawa? So tuko na aina nyingi za family planning, but kuna zile specific zinapunguza maziwa. Hizo ni tembe za kumeza, na kwa hizo tembe kuna zile tunasema ziko combine, zina chembe mbili ama viini mbili za kusaidia mwanamke kutopata ujauzito. Zinaitwa combined contraceptives. Wengine watakwambia microgynon. So microgynon you cannot use while you're breastfeeding. Lakini tuko na option ya kutumia coil, tuko na ile ya kuweka hapa kwa mikono, tunaita implant, okay? So hiyo unaweza weka immediately after delivery, kama umejifungua wezekewa depending on the doctor venye mtakuwa mmezungumza naye. Ama unaweza pia weka at 6 weeks mtoto akija kupata chanjo na wewe pia upate family planning.
Sawa, mimi ningependa mimi naitwa Hamala Atieno. Ningependa kuuliza, wakati ninapoanzisha mtoto wangu chakula hapo akiwa miezi 6, ni kiwango gani ya chakula ninapaswa kuanza nayo?
Kiwango cha chakula ambacho unaweza anza nayo minimally ni vijiko 2 ama 3 cha tablespoon. Kile kijiko kikubwa, sio kidogo. Kidogo tunaita teaspoon. Sawa sawa. Lakini kuna wale watoto ambao appetite iko juu. sawa sawa. So anaweza endelea na vijiko kama 5 ama 10, ni sawa. Asifike kwa vijiko 5, 10 umkatize umseme daktari walisha alisema ni vijiko 2 ama 3. Sawa sawa. Alafu pole pole utaenda with quarter a cup. Nyumbani kile kikombe ambacho tunatumia kupima chakula chetu ni ile ya thermos. Hiyo huwa 250 ml. So huwa tunailinganisha na kikombe kimoja. So anaanza na quarter. Akimaliza quarter lunch time ama siku 2 una monitor. Ako na zile verbal cues la chakula ilikuwa tamu kwani ishaisha. So utajua sapa nitaongeza kiwe nusu. So gradually unapanda pole pole. Msilishe watoto hadi tumbo ifure. Ndio ujue ameshiba. Sawa sawa.
Wajua huku kwa African society ni lazima chakula kiishe ndio ujue mtoto ameshiba. Kama hakijaisha, bado. Sawa sawa. Asante sana Hamala. Kuna swali jingine? Thank you so much. Haya.
Habari zenu?
Mzuri.
Mimi naitwa Maimuna. Niko na swali 2. Swali ya kwanza nauliza kuhusu breastfeeding. Usiku kama tumelala na mtoto na nataka kumnyonyesha, naweza kumnyonyesha kama nimelala ama hadi niamke nikae ndo nimnyonyeshe? Alafu swali yangu ya pili iko kwa nutrition. Nauliza ni kiwango gani ya chumvi ama sukari naizekea mtoto kwa uji ama chakula?
Wacha nianze kutoka basic. Nikishika mtoto hata kama nimeketi, nani amelala? Nani ako horizontal? Mimi au mtoto? Si ni mtoto. Nimemshika hapa, nimemleta kwa matiti, si ndio? Kwa hivyo hata mimi nikilala, position ya mtoto itabadilika? Hapana.
Itabadilika?
Position ya mtoto ibadiliki kwa sababu kumbuka tayari mtoto ako horizontal, si ndio? Nani sasa atakuwa horizontal? Ni mimi. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio inakuanga hadithi. It's usually a myth. If I lie down and breastfeed my baby will choke. But remember, saa hii nimeshika mtoto aje hivi. Hata mama yenyewe alikuwa anamnyonyesha mtoto hapo, tunamshika mtoto hivi. Mimi ndio sasa nitalala. I'll be the one lying down. So the lying down position is very good even for CS moms, but especially at night, so that you don't have to keep unaketi sasa sijui nini, unaanza kusinzia mtoto ndio huyo ameroll. So yes, it is very possible and it is safe as long as, kwa sababu ukienda kwa facility utapewa hata demonstration. That's what the breastfeeding team does. Tutakuwa kupatia demonstration vile utaweka mkono ndio hata wewe usiroll. Kama uko na heavy breast tutakuonyesha vile utashika matiti ndio sasa isifunike mtoto. But yes, it's a good and safe position. Asante.
There's another question as well. Okay.
So umeuliza kiwango cha chumvi na sukari kwa chakula cha mtoto. Wewe mwenyewe weka kiwango gani? Weka ile yenye huwezi kula ama ni kidogo tu, ile ya kufanya chakula chako kiwe nini? Kitamu. Sawa sawa. So we usually say very much restricted kwa sababu pia kuna madini ambayo tunapata kutoka kwa chumvi. Tunapata iodine. Sawa sawa. So usipompatia mtoto atapata magonjwa. So lazima tumpatie lakini ile kiwango kidogo, hata mafuta ni kidogo. Sawa sawa. Lakini tukija kwa sukari pia lazima ikuwe nini? Kidogo. Sio mingi. Sawa sawa.
My name is Irene and mine is one question. Now this baby is born. The baby is with us. We have known how to feed the baby, but how will I take care of the skin of my small beautiful baby? Cause ataoga, sijui nitamuosha na sabuni gani. Ninajua nitamvulia na nitamvalisha. Many says, mtoto ako na allergy cause the soap you used was not good, which is the best detergent.
Now what we tell our mothers, kitu ambacho huwa tunaambia wazazi, is that the babies are very delicate and their skin are very delicate. Na huyu ni mtu haongei. The only mode of talking ni akilia. So wakati mtoto wako analia ndo you realize, maybe there could be a problem. So most of the time we are advised that tutumie a mild detergent, something yenye haina harufu and it is not harsh on the skin.
Now the thing about eczema pia ni kuna hizo flare ups tunasema. Kwa hivyo kama wewe kama mama pia chunga diet yako. Tunaongea juu ya things like probiotics and prebiotics. Unajua vitu kama mala, hiyo inakuanga na probiotics. Hiyo inasaidia tumbo lako. So things that you eat, si lazima iende kwa intestines na tumbo alafu ina pass. So the way you eat probiotics inazuia allergens ziingie kwa system yako, kwa sababu ikiingia kwa damu yako na system yako inaingia kwa maziwa yako. Ikiingia kwa maziwa yako, maziwa unampatia mtoto. So watch your diet pia kama mama. Yeah? So eat well, eat probiotics. Endelea kupatia mtoto wako maziwa yako kwa sababu pia inamkinga tumbo lake. So with eczema ni vizuri pia kuona daktari, watch what you're eating as a mom and watch what you're using on the baby. Yeah.
I believe we have had overwhelming insights on maternal and child care right here at the Bump to Baby fair in the Kenya Coast National Polytechnic here in Mombasa. So these are some of the CSR that we are doing, especially as Health and Wellness Show. We'll be coming to different counties as well, talking about different conditions. If you still have questions to ask us, ask these experts, shoot them out to 22151 on our SMS and on our socials at KTN Home, and also on my socials at Ali_Zaitun on Instagram and at Zaitun Ali on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much for making time and tuning in to Health and Wellness. So the the two-part series is over, but we'll come back with more and more. And also we'll have this episode on our YouTube immediately after it airs. So thank you for tuning in. See you later. Have a blessed night.